It's rainy, it's gray, it's cold, but we're still gonna go out and ride. Welcome to Vancouver, Washington. We've got Matt Boggs on the Vsett 10 Plus. Woo! We've got my son Ethan. What are you riding? Vsett 8. Of course, Andrew, he picked the Vsett 11 Plus. And then Nate's riding the Vsett 9 Plus.
We traveled out to Rev Rides in Vancouver, Washington to check out and ride the new Vsett electric scooter lineup, catching the tail end of one of the worst winter storms to hit the area in 50 years.
All right, what do you do when it rains? You find a nice parking garage where it's dry so you can ride.
We braved the cold, wet winter conditions to inspect, ride, and race these scooters over multiple days and numerous hours, riding both day and night.
On your mark, get set, go.
We also get to meet and ride with Ginger on Wheels and Matt Boggs, some of the most experienced scooter riders around, to get their insights. In this video, we'll share with you what we learned about the Vsett 10 Plus electric scooter.
All right, hardcore scooter fans, today we are here at Rev Rides and we are with Tyler, who's going to be sharing with us the Vsett 10 Plus. This is going to be the first look of the Vsett 10 Plus here in the United States. I've got two scooter experts, Andrew from E-Ride Life, and I've got Matt from Electric Scooter Evolution, and we're going to be learning all about the Vsett 10 Plus.
Yeah, so this is the Vsett 10 Plus R. It's a 60 volt, 28 amp hour battery. This is the largest battery version of the Vsett 10 Plus. Dual 1400 watt motors on it. Folding handlebars, just the next generation of the 010X.
And we have a 010X right here. What we're going to be doing is just doing a little question answer with Tyler to kind of tap into his wisdom and his experience.
These are nice, they're sturdy compared to the 10X.
Yeah, it's not this.
Wow.
This is actually
And
rigid.
this light looks better.
There has been some complaints on this scooter about, okay, when you have the light on and you're bouncing on it, it moves.
Goes up and down, yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
not attached to the front.
Yeah, so that's one downside that I've heard people complain about, is it moves, but
Yeah, but that's only gonna happen when you're hitting a lot of bumps.
well, yeah.
On most smooth roads, you're not gonna notice that.
And you're gonna most likely get an upgraded light if you do night riding anyways.
Of course, and that kickstand is awesome.
Yeah, it's beefy.
That's like the little brother of the 11X kickstand.
It is a,
This is a lot more seamless. You know,
course.
it actually follows the line of the scooter. This doesn't stick out so far that you run into it.
this has got 8 inches of clearance, where the 010X does have 9 inches of clearance, so just a little bit more clearance on the previous one. A lot of people in the community have been concerned about the charging ports on top. Sure. But as we rode yesterday, one thing that we were finding is wet spots on here where we were standing were back here and right here. We were really never putting our foot in the very front of the scooter, so a lot of people have been concerned about kicking that charging port. Sure. But I don't think anybody should be riding with their foot in the very front like that.
Yeah, it's really a non-issue. I can understand why you'd be concerned about it, but when you actually ride these, we've had multiple people ride them now, and no one has mentioned it. No one's had a problem with it.
And actually, Tyler's the right person to ask about this because he's the one who actually has to repair charging ports.
Sure.
How many times have you had to fix charging ports on the side?
Way too many times. We always talk about like if you're in an accident, you could damage these, but I've seen a lot of them where people are just walking along, maybe not paying attention, and you rub the side of the curb with this, and you'll grind this down enough to where you can't get a charger in here anymore. And it just happens all the time. This is just not a great spot. You've got dust, dirt, water gets pushed up here. Almost every video you'll ever see of these ports are hanging out open. The vibration along with gravity just pushes them off, and then you've got an exposed electrical outlet. By putting them on the top, you just avoid all of those issues. We've made these protective covers that actually screw on to be a little more robust. Those will work with the 10X, they'll also work with the 10 Plus. It's pretty much the same outlet. So if you want something sturdier like that, it's gonna be completely watertight.
What goes in the process of having to replace the charging port?
That's the other positive, I guess, is to change this charging port, you pull this cover off and then you're fishing. You've got a channel that you're fishing all this stuff through. And it's a royal pain in the butt. With the 10 Plus, you know, you remove these deck screws, this comes off, you unthread this from the bottom, swap it out, no problem. A lot easier to change. You just probably will never have to change them. That's the only thing.
Well, the funny thing is I assumed you guys did it for a reason.
I mean, we see every issue.
So there's theoretical issues, and then there are real issues. The fact that this is something new, something different, people are going to find a way to complain about it. Whether or not those complaints are valid, you know, time will tell. But from our experience yesterday, riding in wet slushy conditions, our feet, our shoes never got close to those ports, and that area on the scooter stayed completely dry. Dry, and wet, 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 dry. Yeah, maybe there was a little thinking behind that design there. I mean, we're 4 for 4 here.
Yeah, because I mean, you got the spray coming back, and it's actually being covered.
Yeah.
This is the Vsett 10 Plus speed test. We're in dual motors. Gonna hit sport mode now and let it rip. I'm gonna lay off of it a little bit just because it's a little wet. I was able to hit 40 miles per hour. I could definitely go faster, but it's really wet. 42 miles per hour uphill, so pretty good stuff. It was exciting.
So Andrew's just been riding back and forth on this road, just doing top speed tests on the 10 Plus. I think he likes it.
One pair of pants later.
Man, those guys were flying. That was pretty crazy. You could see Ginger on wheels wasn't up front. And I'm not even sure what he was riding. He was going so fast. Who won that last one?
It was Ryan won the last one.
What was Ryan riding? I couldn't even.
So Ryan was on the 10 Plus and he's heavier
Wow.
by about 30 pounds.
Impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
So we're gonna try again. Ready? 2, 3, go!
That's crazy. It's beating it. It's milking it.
All right, so right there, that was Nathan on the 10 Plus.
The winning champion!
Woo!
He weighs significantly
220?
more, 220, 225. I weigh 190, 195.
Okay.
And he smoked me on this when I was on the Wolf. So I was 20 pounds, 30 pounds lighter on the Wolf, and he still beat me on the 10 Plus.
Nobody knew the Vsett line was going to be so awesome.
When you're looking to upgrade shocks, the 10X actually had a 165 millimeter and a 135 millimeter on the front. Unfortunately, the 135 millimeter shock is not readily available. So I mean, you're really looking if you wanted to do any kind of upgrade. This, on the other hand, they thought it through. 125 on the front, 165 on the back. I mean, those are readily available, and you're gonna have so many choices when it comes to upgrading your shocks, if you even want to, because these are pretty amazing as it is.
Yeah, and I love that they kept like the same coilover style, so you can use any of your air shocks.
Yeah.
Or I'm really a fan of the air shocks. I like how they ride.
And that's one thing I think we should bring up to the public is some of the previous pictures that you've seen of the Vsett 10 Plus has the EXA Form Shock 290, but it doesn't have the EXA Form Shock 290 on here. But the nice thing, as Matt discovered, was it's a standard size, so it's easy to purchase one and replace it with that if you like that type of shock.
Folding handlebars, the same story as the 9. They kept a very similar profile to the 10X, so if you like this profile, you're not really going to have any issues here. Easily replaceable, so if you don't trust folding handlebars, some people don't, especially if you're going to be doing 40, 50 miles an hour, you want something really solid in your hands, easily replaceable.
I would take the handlebars apart first, which is unscrewing it, then the spring loaded, and this is what's really nice is the curvature, instead of having that straight bar, when you go to fold it, the stuff kind of sits nicely, where previously when you have those straight bars, you have a lot of this stuff getting in the way when you go to fold it, so it doesn't sit as smoothly. And then the other thing is to go ahead and unscrew this. As you can unscrew it like this is the first part. pop this open, pull this thing up. But as you can see, it's gonna go back into that lock thing. So you want to make sure you lift that up. If I was just using brute force without paying attention, I could slam this on here and slam this hook into this and probably bend this, possibly bend the hook. So you just wanna make sure that when you lift this up, you move out this hook so it clears that. Pay attention to where that threading is so you don't cross thread this at all. If you do happen to cross thread the stem, rather than having to replace this whole stem, you could technically just get rid of this piece and get a Velcro piece for this part. And then the great thing is you can see there's no stem wobble at all. That wobble is just a suspension, it's not the stem moving. And then this hook right here, you have a bag on here, it's got a bigger hook and will lock into place.
Well, why don't you fold it and lock it and lift it for us? Because it's not often that we see a scooter of this much power that actually locks when folded.
Okay, perfect. I didn't even notice this. We didn't notice this yesterday. It has two little nubs on here. So let me pull this over here. So it has two little nubs to keep it in place. What's gonna happen is if you do happen to let it go, it'll get out of place. So you just wanna make sure that when you do put it in that spot, that little lip there, is keep tension on it. If you keep tension up, it'll never fall out of that lip, and then you can lift this up.
How does that feel compared to the 10X when it comes to weight?
Oh, I'd say they're really similar in weight. The weight's not that big of a difference, but the problem with the 10 when you're trying to lift it up, you have to like lift it up and hold the back end together, and it's not easy to lift this into a car. Where this, I could get into a car pretty easily. I'm gonna get a workout, but it's not gonna be too tough.
When you unfold this, if you unlatch this, right, so you're still locked in, and you bring this out of the way, and then you screw this in.
Oh, wow.
And then you can just grab this.
Okay.
So now instead of fumbling all around, you've got
That's
a lot better experience there.
Perfect. That makes sense.
And then it's also not flopping around here as well.
Exactly. Okay. And some people say this is just a copy of the Ryan, which we have the Ryan right there to compare it to. It's got one latching system, but the Ryan actually has just a Velcro strip here. It doesn't have the safety feature, and it doesn't have this safety feature pin right here too. So I would say that this is probably inspired by the Ryan, but is an upgrade to the Ryan latch. I'd say one of the drawbacks to this scooter is this horn. It's not very strong. It's good for the public. I did hear wrong way, call it pathetic. Dogs hate this noise. I've seen, no matter what video I'm watching, whether it's this scooter or another scooter that has this type of horn, my dogs will always be like, what's going on here?
We got a chance to ride it yesterday. Andrew, what were your thoughts from riding it?
One thing I loved about it was, that I didn't mention, was it has nut hydraulic braking. I think nut hydraulic braking is superior to zoom braking. Some people say they're about the same, but I can tell a big difference immediately. The other thing is it's fast. It's extremely fast. We normally don't see a dual 1400 watt motor scooter. Normally you see a dual 1000 watt, dual 1200 watt, or dual 1500 or 1600 watt motors. This is a dual 1400 watt motor, which was very impressive. It actually held its own, very close to the 11 plus. I didn't even expect it to keep up with the 11 plus, and sometimes it beat it in a race.
On your mark, get set, go!
Ultimately, I love this scooter. It feels really smooth. I do think it needs a steering damper, but I'd say any scooter that goes over 30 miles per hour could benefit from a steering damper.
Now that Andrew the Adrenaline Junkie has shared his thoughts, let me share mine. Call me Cautious Chang, because by nature I'm a conservative rider who always has safety on my mind. I rarely go faster than 30 miles per hour, and personally, I don't like scooters that feel like they're trying to dislocate my shoulders when accelerating. The Vsett 10 Plus certainly has a lot of power, but on a night ride, I found myself opening the scooter up and going fast. The scooter instills confidence while riding, and while very powerful, once I had the muscle memory for the throttle, I was having a blast. I love the NFC keycard lock for safety, and I commend the efforts for the turn signals, but those, in my opinion, are still a work in progress.
It's definitely brighter than the eMove Cruiser. Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is it's just so low in position.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You can't overcome that with scooters.
Yeah.
So Matt, what do you think?
Noticeably faster than the 10X. I had a hard time keeping the wheels locked. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
It's a short course in there, so it's too bad it's not dry outside, or else we could really let it rip.
Even with that limited space, you can notice it's noticeably quicker than the 10X 60 volt. Yeah. It's amazing. I love that scooter, man. I don't know why, I just love the look of that scooter. It's so freaking cool.
Tell us what you think about this scooter just from your inspections.
As you said, I'm jonesing. When I'm looking at this scooter, it looks like they took the 10X and they fixed all of the inadequacies that I complained about. I mean, you have the stability, you have the upgraded motors. I love the deck. I love the grip. I love the fit and finish. I mean, the versatility of the suspension when it comes to upgrading. I mean, it's a machine. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Yeah. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and he really went over this with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, he brought his own protractor basically, and he was checking all the angles. Great scooter, Vsett 10 Plus. If you have any other questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below, or check out our blog, gotscooter.com, and we'll have more information there for you. Thanks for watching, and when you ride, make sure to wear your safety gear.
If you found anything of value in this video, consider giving us a thumbs up. It's the best way to help us out. Which Vsett scooter are you most interested in and why? Let me know in the comments below. The Vsett line calls itself the next generation of electric scooters, and we'll have more Vsett videos coming soon, so make sure to be subscribed. I love the yellow accents on the strong angular body to go along with the power and stability on the Vsett 10 Plus. I could go on and on about this, but I'll shut up so you can enjoy some ride footage set to music.
You didn't come here to ride single motor, did you, Ethan?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.